All right, here we go. So we are discussing the Keurig and Mountain Coffee, Green Mountain Coffee, and talking about their negotiations. So where is everyone as far as to the point where they could negotiate this case?
I have not done models yet.
Nope.
Okay.
But I feel like I know what my position would be. So.
Okay. So what do you think that you would choose?
This sounds really funny, but when you look at the exhibits, like Exhibit 3B and Exhibit 3A, it just seems to make more sense to me for them to go with the True North. If you look at those exhibits, it seems much more simpler than when you look at them trying to do the roaster licensing. And I'm just thinking simpler. I mean, they already have a really good relationship with True North. So it just seems like to have to go and do other stuff instead. I don't know if you guys have looked at that exhibit, but it just seems way complicated. And when you just look at the one just dealing with the company that they're already familiar with, the True North, it just seems simpler to me.
I thought True North was a part of their company that they were going to develop, but wasn't an established.
It is. It's their own business.
Because I'm not gonna lie,
it's part of their own.
They were developing True North as part of their own company.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm totally mixed up then.
Okay.
Because I kind of agreed. I agreed with the whoever they were meeting with for Green Mountain Coffee Roasters that their business was building the machine, not in roasting coffee. And I kind of agree. Like, if you can partner with someone who's been doing it and doing it well, you're probably going to be a lot more successful than trying to figure out how to do it yourself, because it takes a long time to develop good food.
I totally agree with you. I thought that they should go that route as well, because, well, it's funny because the doctor's office I used to work for when I lived in Arizona, they had a Keurig, and so I had to learn how to use it because the doctor would be like, oh, like, I don't know how to use this. I don't drink coffee. And it was like annoying. And but they've come a long way, because initially they only had like certain brands you could use, but now they've broken off and done the licensing. So basically any coffee company can submit to have their coffee become these like K-cup things. But they get me like hot chocolate ones, because they make ones for tea and ones for hot chocolate, thinking like that I would drink it. Like, oh, we got you some, you can use the Keurig now. Except it always ended up just tasting like coffee.
Oh.
So interesting to see if, like, you know, now that it's been like 5 or 6 years later, if they've like improved that feature so you don't taste what was there before.
Yeah.
But anyway, nonetheless, I do think that they should go the licensing route. That would have been my.
Yeah, that was my vote.
I totally misunderstood what they were saying then, so I'll go with you guys on that.
Okay, so I was in agreement to go with the licensing, and I did pull up some models, and so let me share my screen here.
Jen, you're so good.
You're so prepared.
I know.
Well, I don't know about that.
Compared to me, where it's like, okay, I got home from work. Let's read this really quick before we get started.
Well, that's the thing, is I've had all day, so that's not really fair.
Even if I had all day, I probably would have slacked off and not given it my full attention, because school doesn't receive my full attention anymore.
Well, like I said, I just want to be done. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, fancy.
Okay, so this right here, over here, is if they went with True North. So they would have to start a production line with 700,000. They needed 300,000 for capital to keep it going, or no, the 1 million for capital, and then development of the line was 300,000. So when I calculated everything up according to the case study, so 1,500 brewers, it would cost them 13 cents to make the coffee and 6 to make the cups and ship them out and everything. So they're looking at just the variable cost was right here at 13 million. They're getting a total revenue of 17 million, which seems like a lot, except when you take away their production costs and everything here as well, they're only making a profit of $1 million.
Ooh, that's not very much.
Yeah, that's kind of throwing money after, why are you wasting your time? So now here's the two versions if they used Green Mountain. So Green Mountain has the production equipment, the capital, and all of that. I calculated that into their expenses. So they're not making as much, but they are making $3 million just to change their production line just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? And then if you come over here to Keurig, that's almost 16 million right there just in licensing fees if they go with this 25 cents a cup.
Good deal.
So if we look down at our negotiations, which I thought was really funny because 16 million for licensing seems like a lot to me. But if we come down here and even just go with 1 cent, they're still making a profit on licensing. So there's a lot of room there to negotiate the cost for Green Mountain for the licensing fees. Do you see that?
Yeah. So that's a lot of leverage for negotiating.
So how do you calculate the royalty per cup? Are they talking about the licensing?
Yeah, that would be the licensing.
Okay.
So they'd make like $640,000 just off 1 cent.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy.
Now, if you look here, though, the 25 cents, and they're getting 16 million, Green Mountain is not making enough to do that. So I should have figured out, let's see, if we match this, let me see the data and a what if scenario here. So if we make this reasonable for them, we'll say 2.9.
Excuse me.
Here. Okay, so we would have to get down to 5 cents before Green Mountain would be making any money on it.
Because we've got to make it attractive to them.
Yeah. But that's
So
still a
is that
profit of not
doable?
really doing much, just
Yeah.
licensing a name.
They could also increase their price that they sell the cups at.
They could.
And if you have a machine specific and they're the only people supplying that time, I mean, you have to buy the K-cup. You don't have an option.
Right.
If you have the machine, you have to buy the K-cups. I mean, they kind of have the, corner on that market where they could sell it for more.
Kind of like printers and printer cartridges.
Yes.
Like you buy the printer and you're like, wow, what a deal, $99. And then you go to buy a cartridge and you go, wow, what? Not a deal, $99 for the cartridge. So yeah, so I can see that kind of. If you have the machine, you're going to have to buy those, buy the K-cup.
Yeah.
I don't know, and
they must make a lot of money on it because they license to basically every type of coffee maker / hot chocolate / whatever you can drink like that. And if you go to Hilton's, every Hilton room has a Keurig in it.
Interesting.
Doesn't Marriott too? Maybe not.
It might, because they can kind of control that as a single brew thing.
Cool.
And it would help if we were coffee drinkers, huh?
Yeah,
I know. I only know this because when I go to visit my grandma in St. George, that we stay at a Hilton, and
okay,
a Hilton Garden Inn every time we go, and that's the only reason I know that those are in there.
And
I know how to use the doctor's office, but yeah.
it's okay. We won't judge you for being a closet coffee drinker.
I won't mind coffee ice cream eater, but that's fake coffee. It's not the real stuff.
that's just flavor.
So there's a woman in my stake that when she goes to the hotel, she takes the coffee packets She stores them because she thinks, you know, if something goes down, there's a disaster or civil unrest or whatever.
Oh.
She saves them so she could trade. Use the
There you
coffee.
go. Sell them to all the coffee
I have
addicts
a-
who no longer have supply.
Yeah.
That's a
I have a
genius.
friend who does that with alcohol, whiskey.
Yes.
I
Oh,
wouldn't do that, but I might draw the line at storing coffee. I don't think I could store alcohol.
The alcohol, though, would increase in value the longer you had it stored.
Oh,
That's true.
totally.
So back to our discussion. These are way entertaining, just by the way. Looking through the questions, we've pretty much covered everything in the last, 19 minutes that we've been doing this. What they're asking for, what they would need to give, GMCRs, walk away. I think we covered it unless somebody else has a different opinion, except for this question. What's at stake? Do you think, is it really important for Green Mountain to make this deal with Keurig?
I think it, for them, has the potential to, like, help them enter, like, a new kind of niche in the market. Like, if they didn't, I think they'd survive as a company and still do okay, but I think this has the chance of really kind of bumping not only their name, but their, like, sales as well.
Right.
I agree.
I was thinking the same thing. When we took the classes, the managerial accounting classes, and they would say, you have these different areas of your company, and this one's really not making a whole lot of money, but it brings in business to these others that are, and so they're worth keeping. I feel like the K Cup is one of those that they're not going to really make a whole lot of money on, but it's worth keeping because it gets their name out for other areas.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, that would be the only brand of coffee you could drink with that machine. So until they opened up their licensing to other people, because like now they can do Dunkin' Donuts has a K Cup. I mean, everybody has one now. But like the smart thing is like being the first one in the door, everybody has to buy your product. There are no other options right now.
Right.
So it's a way to get your name out there, and I think it's really smart.
Yeah.
I'm interested what everybody thinks. The last question at the end of the case study says, what if Green Mountain wants equity in Keurig? How would you negotiate that?
I would say their equity is the fact that we're allowing you to be the coffee that's used with our machine.
No, I'm just asking that, like, what if they come back and say, we want some sort of equity in Keurig as part of the deal?
They're not paying anything into the company. I mean, they're giving us royalties because we're just using them exclusively right now, but I don't know. I wouldn't give them equity. What are they giving to us? We could go our own way and make our own.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just the question that he had. That was the last question that the CEO of Keurig was asking himself, like, what if they want equity? What would they do? What if they want exclusivity? How do I say that? Exclusivity? What if they want an exclusive relationship or exclusive rights? If Green Mountain does.
Yeah, I'd say
I
no
know,
to any exclusive deals.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think if they wanted equity, I'd be willing to give them a small amount, mostly because they're the one who is willing to like start in with the company, and we're using their like brewing techniques and their distribution and like manufacturing, which is all set up already. So they're like being a big help to us in that way. But I don't think it would be a very large chunk. I think it'd be pretty small, like under
more to just kind of keep peace.
Yeah, like maybe around 5%, maybe, if that, depending on the value of the company.
Okay, so does anybody have anything else that they want to add?
No.
Okay, I'll do a quick review. Go ahead.
No, just one question. So did anybody find it interesting that the person that actually started developing this,
Got
I can't
fired.
find his name, I'm looking. Yeah, he got fired. I guess it was, I was like, wow, how's that happen? Like, what happens? Is he getting money? Greenwood, I think that was his name.
I
Yeah,
did think that was
he was
totally,
the CEO.
like, this guy came up with the idea and they totally gave him the boot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that I don't know how that works. Like, I guess he, he comes up with the idea and then the board of directors fires him, and so he gets nothing, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I was just curious.
So I was going to show you guys too. Oh, I think I might have closed it. Let me pull it up again. They gave the, okay, can you guys see that?
No.
No? Okay, hold on. Let me go back and try that again. They gave some financials for, oh, come on. I can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay, for companies, how much they were paying for the regular coffee.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there. Now can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did some calculations and of how much it's actually costing. So they said it takes 30 minutes at $15 an hour, so that's $7.50 a day. So it's about $1,800 for them to pay someone to make coffee. And I calculated what their losses were for what they throw away. It's actually costing companies $1,000 more to have a Keurig. So in my analysis, I wrote about that, and I thought it was worth it just for morale and making it a more comfortable place for the people who are coffee drinkers at their spot. But what do you guys think? Is it worth $1,000 to have fancy coffee?
Oh, that's
Oh,
interesting.
instead of having somebody pay somebody $15 an hour to kind of keep the coffee maker. You know what? I've actually kind of had that job at an elementary school, and you would be surprised how serious people take their coffee.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? We just had like a pot thing that dripped down. It wasn't a Keurig thing. And then you had to put the filter, you had to keep it fresh, and yeah, you would be surprised. It's a big morale booster to have good coffee.
The cost difference is the fact that you can buy that kind of coffee in bulk. It's a lot less expensive than individual cups that you have to pay for. I'm sure the Keurig coffee is way more expensive anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But people are serious about their coffee.
Yeah, they are.
It's
and
universal.
And to be able
But
to
it takes-
pick a specific type, a specific flavor or whatever, I think that's like a big, I think it's worth the money for them to be able to have their own custom coffee.
Yeah, I think that companies would totally pay that.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think more and more people will put it in their houses too, because that's a lot cheaper than going to Starbucks. A lot cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, my boss now has one in his house.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're quite popular.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, even LDS people I know have them because you can do the hot chocolate and the hot cider and teas, I guess, or whatever you drink. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. All right. So in conclusion, so we can do our timestamp. We decided that 25 cents was too much money in order to make it profitable for Green Mountain, and it was more in the 5 cents a cup for royalty fees. But it was worth it to have Green Mountain do the production line rather than having Keurig make its own True North. It was just too much bother for what they'd get out of it. We don't really want to give exclusivity to Green Mountain because there's so many different options of coffee and people have such a wide variety of taste when it comes to that. But if they wanted to buy in with some equity, that could be part of the negotiations and we'd be willing to do that. Anybody have anything else I missed?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Sounded good.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast then.